Hey, hello and good afternoon. This pre-proposal conference is being recorded so we can properly post this conference and the questions and answers on the New Mexico Higher Education Department's website after the December 14th, 5 p.m. deadline noted on pages 8 and 9 of the request for proposal. My name is Scott Eccles, and I'm the External Audit Manager with the New Mexico Higher Education Department. And I am joined today by my colleague, Mr. Mark Chisholm, who is the Higher Education Department's Academic Affairs and Policy Director, and Ms. Cecilia Roybal, who is the Higher Education Department's Procurement Manager. We would like to thank you for attending the department's pre-proposal conference for the Research and Public Service Projects Instruction in General Base Funding Study Request for Proposal number 24-950-2710-00038, which was released on December 1st, 2023. The RFP has been posted since December 1st to our higher education website under the subheading Resources for Schools and then under Requests for Proposals. The purpose of this pre-proposal conference is to field any questions that potential offers may have regarding this RFP. It is noted that the Higher Education Department did not receive any questions prior to this conference today. Without further delay, I will open it up for any questions.
Okay. Well, since I'm one of the few on the call that's outside of the department, this may be a short call. And we'll probably send you a couple of questions in writing, if that's okay, in addition to what we do here. But my questions are as follows. First of all, are the special schools included within the scope of this project, or are we just talking about the post-secondary colleges and universities as we typically think of them?
That's a great question. Mark?
I believe it is just the schools that are covered by the funding formula and that receive RPSPs, and so that would leave the special schools out.
That's what I expected, but wanted to make sure. Second, what's the deadline for wrapping this project up? Is there one? It's, you left the Mesa Land RFP pretty open-ended, but what about this one?
I believe that we're leaving it up to the offerers to put together what they think the proposed timeline would need to be for them to complete the work. So, Cecilia, can this money go over into the next fiscal year, or would it have to be completed by the end of June 24? That's one part I don't know.
Yeah, so I believe this is a special appropriation. I don't think it goes into FY25, so it would the services would have to be provided by June 30th, 2024. But I am not 100% positive on that, so we'll have to get with Gerald on that. But from what I remember about the funding, it ends on June 30th, 2024. But we'll follow up with Gerald and get the correct answer. And just so you know, Dennis, we will accept written questions up until December 14th.
Yeah.
And then we'll respond by the December 18th.
Okay. So, but if we, I presume that questions that I asked today, I don't have to repeat in writing.
Correct.
Okay. Third major question that I have is, are you putting together an advisory group, a steering committee, any kind of representative group that would involve, for example, representatives of the institutions and probably, the legislative budget office and any of those kinds of folks as an oversight group for this project?
This is Scott. I reviewed the scope detailed scope of work on pages 21 through 23 of the RFP this afternoon. And although it calls for some assessment regarding the I&G funding formula portion of the NMPBFF institutions, I do not believe that it calls for any group or coalition, or consortium, so to speak, regarding the scope. I think it would be up to the chosen consultant, solely to make determination, based on their review assessment, and then of course recommendation for best practices.
Okay, so what I take from that, Scott, is that the department hasn't selected a group like that as part of this project. If we were to suggest formation of one, we could negotiate membership and et cetera with the department. Is that reason, because at the end of the day, the way NCHEMS works, we want to make sure that this has a chance of getting implemented. So the parties that are key to all of this can't get blindsided by a report at the end of 6 months or whatever.
We have an existing formula technical committee, which could sit and provide input, guidance, and so forth. I don't think that is built explicitly into the proposal, but that committee is looking forward to receiving the recommendations and taking them into account as they recommend additions or changes to the formula over this next year. So we'll get back to you more formally as to whether that group could be involved in the work that the offerer is performing or not. There's also a steering committee that takes the recommendation from the technical committee and does the final approval. So the technical committee tends to be budget officers. The steering committee tends to be presidents, roughly.
Okay. Well, if we recommend that there be some interaction with stakeholders, and we can talk about how we get that done, but we'll make provision for it at the very least. Okay.
Sure.
The couple of the rest of these, branch campuses. Should the funding for branch campuses be treated as part of the main campus? Do they get folded into the main campus, or are funding for them calculated separately?
And the branch campuses have their own separate line items in the budget bill. So they're all treated in terms of the formula and funding as separate entities.
They're treated as standalone institutions.
In terms of the funding and the calculation.
In terms of funding, yes.
In terms of funding, yes.
Okay, that was what I thought from prior history, but wanted to make sure. I think the rest of the questions that I've got are probably better just done in writing rather than trying to talk through at this point. So, I mean, those are the ones that really affect the proposal itself. That are the questions that I've got that affect the proposal itself. The others are kind of clarifying issues and et cetera, but not germane to what we put together for a proposal. Okay?
Very good.
So I'm out of questions. It's pretty straightforward. We know what we're doing on this one.
Vanessa, did you join to see what kind of questions there were, or do you have questions for us?
I was participating as a fly on the wall, so I can report back to my presidents, but thank you for asking, Mark.
Tell your president hello for me.
Oh, it would be the Independent Community College presidents.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
It shows up as NMCC on the screen.
Yes, New Mexico Independent Community Colleges.
Well, I know that crowd too.
Yeah,
So.
I am the executive director for them.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so
just a follow-up, Dennis. Sorry, Scott. Just a follow-up. I was looking into the budget appropriation and it looks like it's for 2 years. So this would term on 6/30/2025. That's when we have to provide the services by 6/30/2025. It's a 2-year appropriation, but we've already missed 6 months of
6 months of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I presume the amount of the project is the amount that's in the appropriation language.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the 200,000 would be the
200,000.
maximum. That's correct. Yep. For sure.
And that'll be for the both years, not just a total of 200,000.
Yeah. Well, and I'm presuming that in the scheme of things, you would like to have this so that it could influence, so you could be done before the next legislative cycle, before you nail down the appropriation request and et cetera for fiscal 25-26.
Yes.
In the scheme of things, we would hope to have something that the technical committee and steering committee could use as we put together the formula recommendation next year. So yeah, for 12 months from now, would be nice to have this done. We actually have our higher education budget presentation to the LFC tomorrow morning. And
so something that gets it done by October, November would be ideal in your mind.
In a perfect world, a little bit before that to give the committee a chance to incorporate any recommendations that they felt they could make to the formula in a perfect world. Okay. That may not be doable given the scope of work, but
well,
yes.
But if the technical group or the steering committee were engaged in conversations along the way, then the writing up of the final report could lag a little bit, but
yes,
the material would be known, the substance would be known before that.
Correct.
And I presume that the formula review committee, the piece of this that deals with RPSP programs is kind of separate from their conversation. Is that correct?
It's a parallel line. It's a parallel line. There is RPSP money that looked like it was really for ING purposes was rolled into the base funding this year, and we, as a department, did not approve any new RPSP projects waiting for the results of this study. to guide us as to how to proceed in the future. So, and the makeup of the current technical committee is such that it's a pretty reasonable group to also be discussing RPSP issues.
Okay,
But the formula is separate from the RPSPs, except to the degree that RPSPs are rolled into the base. We have RPSPs all across the board. Some of them, I think you probably know, like fund what would be separate state agencies in other states.
yes,
And so we're not talking about rolling those in, but
yep,
but there's a number of them that are fuzzy and
yeah. I noticed those, and how those get treated is up for discussion and
Right.
recommendation. Okay, got it.
Cecilia, I have your hand up.
Yes, so I have some bad news. I just spoke to our budget director. And I didn't realize that we received this special appropriation in FY23. So we only have until 6/30/2024 to use this money.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was a 2-year appropriation and we received it in FY23.
I'm not sure that's correct.
We'll double check with Gerald, but I just spoke to Lisa about it, and that's
Pretty sure
but-
it was
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure we got the money this year.
okay.
I'm
Okay, we'll
pretty
double
sure
check
it
with
was-
Gerald.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it passed last March on the current appropriation. I'm pretty sure about that.
Okay, we'll double check with that.
Okay, that's an important one to know.
Yeah. We will be definitive on that. I don't know when the back end of it is, but I am pretty sure that it was this year that it was passed.
Okay. Well, I'm out of questions. I appreciate your time, the information.
So
Great,
Scott, do
thank you.
we, this is my first pre-proposal conference like this. Do we, say if we get questions in the mail, I know we post the questions and answers on the webpage, but do we also send a response directly back to whoever asked the questions?
Not to whoever submitted the acknowledgement of receipt form. They are the only ones who will get the questions and answers directly.
Okay,
So if I didn't receive that acknowledgement of receipt form by yesterday was the deadline, then you will not get the questions and answers directly, but they will be posted on our procurement library, which is our
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, but NCHEM submitted that form.
Okay, good.
So Brian did. So,
Brian, oh, okay, yes, I received
Okay.
this.
okay, so you get the answers directly and we'll have them on the website.
okay,
Yeah, great. That's it. So we'll post those. And again, we'll post those after December 14th, 5 p.m. because that's the deadline to accept the questions. So then what we'll do is we'll post both the pre-proposal conference itself, and then in addition, separately, you'll see a little click on for the actual questions and answers that we received today, and then any that we received in writing prior to that December 14th, 5 p.m. deadline.
can I ask a follow-up question now that you've said that?
Sure.
Particularly on the matter of how long this goes, does it lapse in 6 months or 18 months? Could you post that before the 18th? Or do you have to hold all answers until you just all at once?
I'm not understanding the question. Are you talking about
So we've got till the 14th before questions close.
right?
The question about, when does the funding end? Does it end in FY25 or FY26? Is kind of important for how proposals get written. Can you provide an answer to that, say on December 15th? Or do you have to wait until the 18th and do them all?
No, we can let you know. We can let you know as soon as we have even though the deadline is the 18th for us to respond, if we have it ready, we can post it, and we can work with that internally to get it posted by the 5th. Is the 15th a weekday?
Yes, it's Friday.
Yeah, we'll work
Yeah.
on that, Dennis, to get that by the 15th.
Okay, because that's the one question that really affects how things get written.
Yes, and it's either going to be FY24 or FY25, not 26.
If it's 24, it's
It's a huge difference.
a huge difference. Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
okay. I'm done.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I guess that will end the pre-proposal conference for this RFP. We thank you for attending and appreciate it. Good day.
So long,
you.
everybody, and
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Hey, Mark.
Yes,
So on this recording, do we just hit stop on this booger now?
I think, I'm not
Let's see
sure
what
I
it-
can stop the recording because you started it.
Yeah, let's try. Let me give it a shot here. Stop recording.
Oh, yeah, got it.